Hey guys, so I am going to do a book review, Queen of Shadows by Sarah J Maas. Filler free review basically right now is this was very disappointing to me. The story was very inconsistent, it didn't make a lot of sense, and it just all around could have been done way better. So that is my spoiler-free review. If you have not read this book or the series, stop the video now. So this is now the spoiler part of the video. If you have not read it, please leave. So this book is the fourth in the series, and I was anticipating this so much, and when I finally read it, I was pulling my hair out, irritated. I could not stand anything of this book, okay? First we get Dorian, and he's trapped in this darkness. That's the Valak Prince in his body, and that was interesting. That had me pulled into the story. But the character Aelin, and I'm sorry if I pronounce any of these names wrong because they're pretty hard to say, you have to admit. So we get Aelin, and she is so out of character in this book. I cannot stand her. I'm like pulling my hair out this entire time saying, when is Selena coming back? Selena was like a goddess, and now Aelin's just, I want her out, okay? That's how bad this book is, because I wanted Aelin out. I wanted her gone. So we get Aelin, and she's at the vaults, okay, and she's stalking Arabin, and that enough is just like, what are you doing? And so she sees Kale Westfall meeting up with Arabin, which that had me concerned, like, what is Kale doing? What is he doing? So then we get on into the story, and then Selena, or Aelin, whatever you guys call her, she meets up with Kale, and she keeps putting him down, and I just wanted to go into stories and just smack some sense into this character, because no, the characters in the first 3 books would never have said half of those things that she said to him. And what really irritated me is by the time I was like 200 pages into the book, the only thing that had happened was that they saved Adion. That was it, okay? This book is literally 645 pages long, and the first 200 pages are just her whining because Rowan's not with her. And I'm sorry, but the Selena Sardothian from the first 3 books is not a whiny little bitch like this character was. I couldn't stand her. I could not stand this character, okay? And then we get Adion's rescue, and she couldn't even do that by herself. She had to have help from Arabin and Kale. Okay, she had to have help. And then people were getting irritated with Kale, and I don't understand why, because Kale was saving lives with this Nezrin, which that Nezrin character, she had very much potential, but she also had a background story that made no sense, okay? In my opinion, Sarah is inserting herself into this book just so that a ship can happen. You can't do that when you write a book. So Adion gets rescued, and then we have this reunion between Aelin and Adion, and that was all great. That was perfect. And then Rowan comes in, and this bewildered me, because like the first 400 pages are nothing happening. Nothing. We've been set up with a world where the king is evil, and yet nothing's happened. First 400 pages where we actually have something that can go on, but nothing happens. The first 400 pages are just like, oh, I miss Rowan. Where's Rowan? I'm gonna seduce Rowan with my nightgown. that disappointed me so much. And not to mention that Sarah took back a lot of what she said in previous books just to make a ship happen. You can't. It's not good writing. It just doesn't work, okay? Okay, but I'm gonna talk more about Cale, okay? Because he was doing so much in this book. And Aelin was talking shit to him, telling him he's bad. He ran from the castle when Dorian sacrificed himself. Like, you, Aelin, ran when Marianne sacrificed herself. But that's not the same with Cale. I'm sorry, but that made no sense. There's so many inconsistencies with this book, just alone in the first 100 pages. Like, she said that her and Rowan went to go fight those Valak princesses by themselves, with just those two, when in Heir of Fire, she went in on her own to fight them. She killed them on their own, and the only reason why Rowan was in there in the first place was because she was running out of power. That was the only reason in there. Carinum? I don't even know that word. I don't know. I don't really care to know. Because this book, very disappointing on this book. But on other words, did you guys see my shirt? It says, "Books make me happy, you not so much." I got it today and I love it. Okay, so after the first 400 pages, we get a meeting basically with Manon and Aelin. And that scene had me going like, Manon, you kill her. I want Manon. I like that bitch. She is cold-hearted, but she can make it work, okay? And I was rooting for her to kill Aelin, and that's horrible. That is horrible, okay? Because Aelin could have so much potential, but she's sitting around whining, worrying about Rowan, okay? Rowan. And then in that scene, Rowan gets hit with an arrow to the shoulder, and he's all weak and like can't do shit. And I'm just like, this is supposed to be an immortal Fae warrior, and he's gonna die at a freaking shot to the shoulder with an arrow. That made no sense at all, okay? I don't even care if magic doesn't work there, that doesn't make sense. Oh, this book was just... Oh, and then she's just like, oh, I'm not gonna kill Dorian, no, to Cale. And then she tries to kill him when they rescue Adian, okay? Oh. The only reason Dorian was still alive was because of that Nezrin. And I'm not even gonna go into that character, but the backstory with Cale and Nezrin being little fuck buddies, that doesn't make sense either. No. And then another inconsistency was when they were talking about being in Wendelin and saying how Aelin met Rowan's old fuck buddy. I was dying at that. When in the hell did they have time to meet this old buddy of Rowan's? When? Because in that book, they just ran right off to the docks and then she was gone. And when did they have time to have talked to Narok, the one that was the Prince Valg out in Wendelin that she defeated? When did they have time to actually talk to Narok? Because I'm pretty sure in Heir of Fire, they said that there was like a flicker of Narok in his actual body, and it was like him saying that thank you to Selena for killing him, and then it was gone. But then in Queen of Shadows, he told them so much stuff. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. To me, this book, it was so badly written in my opinion. And I don't mean like she's a bad writer, because she's very good at writing, but it was more like she's destroying characters to get a ship to work. I don't like, I'm sorry. And then we get to the final battle between the king, Selena, and Dorian, and by that time Kale's supposedly dead, but he's not dead because the Eye of Elena. I don't understand that, but so we get to this part and Dorian's finally freed because of this ring or whatever. So Dorian's free and we finally get the king and we find out he was possessed or something, but that makes no sense either, okay? Why did the king trap Dorian? Why was that necessary? Why? Because it makes no sense. Why is Parrington, the King Valg Erwin or whatever his name is? Why? It doesn't make sense. This book was more like it was written as she went, and then none of the flaws were combined to make them make more sense. It doesn't work. It didn't look good. It didn't sound good. It just... And then when we finally get the real king of Aderlin, was it just me, or was I thinking, or was everyone else thinking, Jonathan Morgenstern from the Mortal Instruments? That was that scene. That was so ripped off from the Mortal Instruments scene that I couldn't deal. I couldn't stand it. I just kept thinking, this is like that scene where we actually get to see the actual Jonathan. I can't deal with this book, okay? I can't. So then, at the end of the book, we get Aelin, and she goes off and she's going back home to her Terrasen land, and I'm just like, I'm glad she's gone. She's finally back, where she's not around Dorian or Kale, and Kale's being sent off to the southern continent because he's paralyzed from the waist down, but he's still alive. And the new captain of the guard goes with him. So Dorian is being left with no captain of the guard. It just didn't make sense. I'm sorry. This book was so disappointing, but it had so much potential, and I'm just... Alright, now I'm gonna start talking about Manon, because Manon was a very interesting character when I reread Air of Fire, because when I first read Air of Fire, I hated Manon. I kept going through the chapters like, when is this bitch gonna be done talking, okay? And now going back into the story, I liked Manon the second time around. She was a very interesting character, she's intriguing, she's all around amazing, and then we get Queen of Shadows. And her amazing level just like goes down slowly as it goes on, because she lets Duke Parrington test on witches making witchlings, and then, I'm sorry, but if they're so set on about their witches and their witchlings, they would not let the Duke test on them, okay? That was so unbelievable, it was stupid, to be honest. And then we get Allied, which that's Lady Marion's daughter, and I liked how Manon rescued Allied. It was very cute. I liked the way that it was done, and it was showing like Manon actually has feelings, but she kind of like doesn't want to show them. So, favorite scene was when Adian flipped out on Aelin because she was doing nothing this entire goddamn book. That was my favorite scene because he actually said it. Someone finally said it that would listen, and she still did nothing, okay? All in all, this book wasn't really worth my time. Don't hate me for this video, but these are my opinions. You don't have to agree with them. You don't need to be rude to me by saying that I'm stupid for my opinions. You don't need to tell me that I'm disrespecting the author by saying this, because I'm not. I'm disrespecting the story, if anything. Let's keep it all friendly on my channel. Don't be rude. And I will see you guys with a new video.